Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, and I have to admit I'm feeling pretty chilled out today. I finally got the spare room set up as a model painting studio. I have months worth of models that need assembling and painting. I've got it lit, I've got the camera set up so I can actually properly record what I'm doing. It's not entirely cat proof. I still have to find a way of preventing the cats from chewing on the bristles of my brushes, but it's pretty good. So, chilled out as I am, what better way to relax further than watching a Shimakaze replay? Haven't done one of these in a very long time. What's so chilled out about the Shimakaze jingles? Well, it depends on what torpedoes you're using, really. This is... I have no idea how to pronounce that. Toussaint's? We're just going to call him Dave. Everybody likes Dave. Dave's quite popular here on this channel. The type of torpedoes available on the Shimakaze are obviously going to dictate how you play it. Now, by default, the Shimakaze has the 20-kilometer range Type 93s. Yes, the famous noob tubes. They're not particularly fast, but then again, they're not particularly slow either, with a speed of 62 knots. The problem is their surface detection range. You'll see these torpedoes coming quite literally from well over a mile away. They'll be spotted at a range of 2.5 kilometers. They're the default torpedo set up for this ship, and anybody with the slightest lick of sense gets rid of them for something better as soon as they possibly can. And something better is usually the Type 93 Mod 3 torpedoes, which sacrifice 8 kilometers of range, but 12 kilometers of range is perfectly fine. They gain a little more speed, with a speed of 67 knots, which is pretty quick. They do more damage, with not far short of 24,000 damage per hit, minus your target's torpedo damage reduction, of course, but more importantly, they're a lot more stealthy, with a detection range of 1.7 kilometers. Still not great, but way better than 2.5. And these tend to be the torpedoes that everybody uses on their Shimakazes. But not Dave, because Dave is a man of culture. Dave likes to live a life of danger, romance and mystery on the high seas, and he is going with the F3 torpedoes, and these only have an 8-kilometer range. But they knife through the water at a speed of 76 knots. Now, they're not the fastest torpedoes in the game. Well, they are at the moment, but as soon as the upcoming Swedish Tier 10, the Halland, makes it officially into the game, that thing doesn't have torpedoes, it has underwater missiles that reach speeds of 86 knots, but they do half the damage of the Shimakaze's torpedoes. For the moment at least, the Shimakaze with these F3 torpedoes are the fastest torpedoes in the game. Now, these torpedoes will be spotted at a range of 1.8 kilometers, which is still way better than the 2.5 of the Type 93s, and while not incredibly stealthy, when your torpedoes are cutting through the water at 76 knots, and even if you spot them 1.8 kilometers away, it doesn't leave you a lot of time to get out of the way. It should be obvious by now that Dave is sharing this cap circle with another destroyer. We're just not sure which one it is. None of the enemy destroyers have been spotted yet. The enemy team have a pair of Shimakazes of their own and a Yu Yang. And a Shimakaze will outspot a Yu Yang. The Yu Yang at best can have a surface detection range of 6 kilometers, and the Shimakaze can have 5.6. So who, oh who can it be? Some smoke screens over there, but those could be the Smolensks. If it's one of the enemy Shimakazes, it'll be a fair fight, and we don't like fair fights. Torpedo spotted, Shimakaze spotted, and yet Dave is not counter-spotted. He picked up that Shimakaze at a range of 6.9 kilometers. The only way for that to be possible is for him to not be running the concealment mod or have concealment expert on his captain. And he's only got 17,900 health as well, so he's not running survival expert. And I'm pretty sure that these torpedoes are being launched from the noob tubes, so this could very well be this guy's very first game in the Shimakaze. Maybe even with just a 3-point captain. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yep. So, tell me, how are you enjoying your Shimakaze experience? Oh, wow. Oh, It reminds me of the first time I took the Shimakaze out. I didn't have a 10-point captain either. Although I at least could spare the credits for the concealment module. What else would you be running other than the concealment module? I mean, I don't get it. I just don't understand. I mean, stealth is the only thing the Shimakaze has going for it, so why wouldn't you capitalize on that? Answers on a postcard, because your guess is as good as mine. Another thing that's worth pointing out here is that Dave doesn't appear to be using the legendary mod for the Shimakaze. Now, I don't know if that's because he's decided it's garbage, or he just hasn't unlocked it yet. But based on that reload, which is about 100 seconds, he's using the Torpedo Armament Expertise skill, and he's using Torpedo Mod 3, but not the Legendary. And that's the setup that I have on my Shimakaze. The Torpedo Reload Mod 3 cuts 15% off your torpedo reload time, and the Torpedo Armament Expertise skill shaves off an additional 10%, so you get 25%. The Legendary mod, instead of Torpedo Tube Mod 3, gives you 25% by itself, so with the skill you can get 35%, but it comes with a fairly hefty price. It causes the torpedo launchers to rotate 80% slower, which makes the torpedoes all but useless in a close-range fight. Oh, hello. Dave popped a couple of torpedoes in the gap between those two islands, and he bagged himself a Smolensk. Sinking one of those things is always nice. There's another one of them pesky little Russian buggers over there, but, well, at least one of them forgot the golden rule. Smoke screens are torpedo magnets. The second set of torpedoes, he went on a bit of a fishing expedition against that massed cluster of enemy battleships and cruisers. Didn't get lucky with those. Something else that's probably also worth pointing out is that even though the Shimakaze does have god-tier concealment with 5.6 kilometers if you've set it up correctly, and that does allow you to use these 8-kilometer range ultra-fast torpedoes effectively, but it does come with a downside. The fact that you do have to get as close as this in order to score a hit with the torpedoes makes you incredibly vulnerable if you get detected. There's a reason why the Type 93 Mod 3s with their 67 knot speed and 12-kilometer range are the most popular torpedoes on the Shimakaze. And it's not because they do the most damage. They allow you to torpedo from a relatively safe distance. A safe distance that doesn't mean you have to get well inside radar detection range, and potentially also the 6-kilometer hydro range of certain German battleships and cruisers. With these F3 torpedoes, you do have to pay attention to the potential radar and hydro threats on the enemy team. I mean, you should be doing that anyway in any destroyer, but particularly in the Shimakaze with the F3 torpedoes. Now look at this enemy Montana, and let's just count the number of things that he's doing wrong. First, he's completely ignoring the presence of the known destroyer to his left. He's also put an island on his right-hand side, so he can't make any right turns to avoid anything coming at him. And if he was to make a left turn, well, he'd probably chew on a couple of those daring torpedoes, but he would also be giving broadside to the Yamato right in front of him. So this guy completely deserves everything that he gets. If there's a known torpedo threat, and there was no reason for him to not know that there was a torpedo threat over here, and there is an island around, put the island between you and the threat. Don't put you between the threat and the island, because you're just begging to be torpedoed. I have a question, by the way, about something that just happened in chat. Do you see the Smolensk to the southeast? He's in pink. Now, there it is in chat. He actually said it a couple of seconds ago. I'm using hydroacoustic search. Why? I mean, there's only one destroyer left on the enemy team. It's the Yu Yang, and he's miles away to the north. And there are two islands between him and the Yu Yang. The only other torpedo threat was the enemy Smolensk, who's just been sunk by the other friendly Smolensk. But there's a couple of million tons of island-shaped rock between him and any torpedoes that the enemy Smolensk might have fired as well, so I don't understand why he popped his hydro. There's zero torpedo threat in his position, and there are no destroyers that could be sneaking up on him. In fact, if the enemy Yu Yang was inside the range of the Smolensk's hydro, you wouldn't need the hydro to see him because he'd be visible to the naked eye. So that's another one that I just don't understand. Maybe his finger slipped on the keyboard. Maybe he was reaching for his smoke screen instead. But if that's the case, why didn't he use his smoke screen afterwards? So, again, no idea. Doesn't make any sense. Answers on a postcard. Oh, now check out this beautiful, beautiful torpedo launch. The enemy Yamato is reversing, and he did stray inside detection range, but only for a couple of seconds. But his main battery 18-inch guns aren't pointing in the right direction, and he only got one burst away with his secondaries, although somebody else tried to get some shots off in that tiny window of opportunity when Dave was detected. But what does the Yamato do? Does he continue reversing, and then that happens? Or does he panic, slam the engines full speed ahead, and which would really only have slowed him down to a dead stop, and he would have probably eaten even more torpedoes and would have died instantly? But it's just astonishing the number of torpedoes that Dave has landed on targets in that gap between those two islands. You'd think at some point they'd learn, but they never do. Pretty sure the Daring's torpedoes finished off the badly injured Yamato. So that's two Smolensks, a Yamato and a Montana down. That just leaves one enemy Yamato. And he knows that there's a destroyer sneaking up on him. Well, I say there's a destroyer sneaking up on him. There's absolutely nothing sneaky about this. The Yamato has very wisely popped his spotter plane, but it's not going to make any difference. Knowing that you're about to get fucked, being able to do something about it are two entirely different things. He's got the guns loaded, he gives a damn good account of himself, and he nearly, well, he was never going to survive this. I mean, that was just brutal. But he almost took Dave with him. So, out of all of the enemy ships on this side of the map, I think that Yamato at least deserves an F for respect in the comments. I mean, he died anyway, and he didn't get Dave, but he had a damn good college try. Well, Dave's going to take a moment to catch his breath and soak up the praise and adulation of his teammates. That's over 205,000 damage done so far and 17 torpedo hits. But there are still two enemy cruisers afloat, and they're probably not going to sink themselves. So, full speed ahead, no guts, no glory. It'll be fine. He's got 1,080 more health than he needs. What's the worst that could happen? 2 Zhaos up ahead, and our hydroacoustically challenged friend in the Smolensk is desperate to get his name on the scoreboard, so he's getting into a gunfight with both of them. To be fair, he does get one of them, but, well, now he has to survive getting shot at by the surviving Zhao. He continues returning fire, but I think at this point he's probably more concerned with just getting some extra damage in before the battle ends, and he's entirely happy to take the risk that he doesn't survive. And he does survive, but it's only because... There, did you see the flare going off? That's the will to victory talent from the unique Russian commander, Nikolai Kuznetsov. If his red shell tracers weren't enough of a giveaway, that definitely seals the deal. That was the will to victory talent going off, which happens when a ship commanded by Nikolai Kuznetsov falls below 10% health. It triggers a free damage control, which extinguished the fire that would otherwise have killed him, and also triggers a free heal. In addition, it increases the dispersion of shots fired against your ship by 20% for a few seconds. The Zhao did duck in around the other side of the island over there, but, well, there's an Henri Yamato and another Smolensk around that side. This side, he only has to put up with a Shimakaze, a Daring, and a Smolensk on extremely low health. So he has picked the lesser of two evils, although I don't feel very confident about his chances. He's managed to avoid the Daring's torpedoes. So, well done that Zhao. But now who's he going to shoot at? Well, he's attempting to torpedo the Daring. And his guns... Yeah, the guns are going for the Daring as well. Unfortunately, he couldn't have picked a worse moment to make that turn. Oh well, I suppose the result was inevitable. It was just a question of who was going to get the kill. And that would be Dave, with his 18th torpedo hit of the match. 215,000 damage done, and over 750,000 credits earned, with the F3 torpedoes in the Shimakaze, the torpedoes that nobody expects. I hope you enjoyed it. Well done, Dave. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.